again, hockey fans. Are you ready to brave the wild? With me, your host, Paladino Joey, or Joey Awajan. Brave the Wild is available on all of your favorite podcasting apps and also on the Hockey Podcast Network. I thank Dylan and Kyle very much for having me on board that wonderful network. It's a great pleasure to be back aboard with you once again today. The sun is shining. The Minnesota Wild, well, they ended their losing streak. It's been kind of a back and forth type of deal. The Wild ended up losing the first two and winning the second two out of the Big Four this past week. So you could call it a down and up week, up and down and up, whatever you want to say, whatever order you want to put it in. 4 games to review, 3 games to preview. Upcoming, we have Vancouver tonight, Pittsburgh and Colorado. Otherwise, you got the losses, unfortunately, to Utah. I don't know why we can't beat Utah. That's becoming a thing. Like, why can't we beat Utah? We're basically, we're winless versus Utah. 1 out of 8 possible points, only an overtime loss earlier in the year to the Utah Yeti. No, they're not the Yeti. The Utah Hockey Club. And I don't know, if they keep, again, like I said before, just a reminder, or if you're like new to the show or anything, apparently if they keep the Utah Hockey Club name, then I guess the Yeti will be the, very possibly the mascot. Like maybe that'll be the crest. So it'll still be, that's how you, an indirect way of having the Yeti for Utah. So I might actually support that because Yeti's probably the best out of the group, but you just don't get the name because, you know, people can't tell the difference between a hockey player and a fancy water bottle. Or, you know, cold beverage bottle, whatever you might put in their energy drink, or, well, not energy drink, but like, you know, electrolyte stuff. I don't know. I can't tell the difference. Can't tell the difference between a water bottle and a hockey player, I guess. So, yeah, I don't know. Especially one that says Utah versus just Yeti itself. But anyhow, the Wild can't beat Utah for some reason. And we lost to Colorado for the umpteenth time in franchise history. Imagine that. Both road games, so much for our road record. at least in that back-to-back. It was pretty lousy. 6-1 and 5-2, respectively. That is an 11-3 combined loss, basically, to those two Mountain Time Zone teams. Mountain Time Zone teams. Rolls right off your tongue, sort of. Generally, the topics on today's show, you could say, why is this? Got everything. Yeah, it's like it's weird. It's like all of a sudden I have 2 things up instead of 1. That makes no sense. Just go away. Just go away. Okay, that's better. Yeah, obviously the Kaprizov thing is kind of an ongoing saga. And now you add, I talked about it on the last show. Joel Eriksson with most likely a broken bone in his foot with a puck going up his skate one way or another. So there's that. That's kind of just rehashing old news. The Minnesota Wild trade for the Gustav Nyquist recently. So getting him back. Obviously his last stay with Minnesota was pretty impressive. It was short because of because he was coming back from a shoulder injury at the time. Was incredibly effective, to say the least. Unfortunately, though, he's 35 years of age. He'll be turning 36 if the Minnesota Wild do re-sign him in the offseason, which I kind of doubt, but I guess you never know. It is what it is. With this team, you never know. Nyquist actually had career highs last year. He didn't have a career high in goals. It was, okay. Career high in points, but the goals were actually, was he third all time? I guess he had 28 back in 2014 and 27 goals in 2015 with the Detroit Red Wings. Remember years ago, I believe he accidentally hit someone in the face years ago with his stick during a face-off, but a lot of people were kind of mad and frustrated with that one. I forget who it was now. It's years ago. I think it was Granlund. Granlund. Years ago with the Red Wings. But yeah, career high for Nyquist last year with Nashville, 75 points. His previous career high was 54 at Detroit in that 14-15 season. 53 points kind of recently with the Blue Jackets. And then the Minnesota Wild traded for him, again, a shoulder injury during the 22-23 season. Incredibly effective, 5 points in 3 games, and was pretty good in the playoffs as well. In fact, I forget if he was our leading scorer in the postseason that year. But, yeah, anyhow, Minnesota Wild postseason history has not been all too friendly either, generally speaking. But he was good for us for a bit, was Gustav Nyquist. And then he, of course, left for the Nashville Predators and was excellent the next year. This year, so far, in 57 games for the Nashville Predators, he had 9 goals, 12 assists, 57 games for only 21 points. Obviously, a miserable situation there. I'm not sure why, really, what happened there, but just didn't work, basically. It was a mix of players that didn't work. And you feel for Andrew Burnett because we're all big fans of his. So far in 2 games for Minnesota, the Goose has no assists, no goals, and is a -1. He was a career low -20, by the way, also with the Nashville Predators this past season. So, I don't know, maybe he's starting to hit the proverbial wall. From 75 points to 21. It's a big drop. So, the Minnesota Wild giving up a second-round pick. Now, I like Gustav Nyquist, and you'll hear from fans in there, and so I'm not gonna let the cat out of the bag too much, but yeah, of what like of the discussion, we're gonna save that for the fan interaction segment. But yeah, I don't know, I don't know. I think a second round pick is more valuable than some of you do. I guess a lot of people think it's like, come on, yeah, it might be someone who's here in 4 or 5 years. I mean, Bill Guerin even said that. I don't know. Okay, Chuck Fletcher. Excuse me, Dumpster Doug. I mean, excuse me. Yeah, I don't know. That's the same nonsense we used to hear in the past. Or as Dracula might say in Castlevania Symphony of the Night, still uttering the same nonsense. Yeah, still uttering the same nonsense. I like to tell that to a lot of people over the years. And I don't mean on this podcast. I mean, yeah. Yeah. Anyhow, next. What's going to happen coming up in this whole trade, trade deadline coming up? And again, I'm going to try to be more topical, like I always say this. Nelson or Nelson? Will we have a Nelson in Minnesota? Will we have Brock or, will we have Brock or the other one? I don't know. We're going to have to wait and see how that all turns out. Obviously, Brock Nelson's the taller guy, great in the face-off circle from War Road, Minnesota. Yes, people born in 1991 look old now. Isn't that weird? And now we're thinking about obviously today, March 6th is a very sad day for Minnesota Twins fans' history. The last time the Twins won a the last team to win a world championship in Minnesota was the Twins back in 91. So this guy was born, Brock Nelson, who looks like an older guy already. He was born during the Twins playoff run. Oh my God, October 15th, 91. I feel really old. Because I see gray hair in his picture, his profile picture, the tall Brock Nelson there, 6'4". But this day in history in 2006 already, man, almost 20 years ago, Kirby Puckett passed away of a stroke. Yep, the stroke occurred, I believe it was the day, was it the day before? On the 5th, I believe? Yes, it was the day before. And then on the 6th, it was like, they kind of pulled the plug, and then he passed away, basically, not too long after that, because it was just too late, you know what I mean? So, basically, when you have a stroke, you don't get blood to the brain, and there's brain damage, which unfortunately I can relate to with friends recently as well, with cardiac arrest, where it's the same thing, brain damage, and they die. So, yeah, extremely sad. 19 years ago already for Kirby Puckett. So, yes, that triggered that, and obviously I've been seeing it kind of a lot this morning as well. So, figured I'd remember our legendary hero, Kirby Puckett, who helped the Minnesota Twins win 2 World Series in 5 years. A moment of silence for the legend, number 34, Kirby Puckett. Yeah, again, crazy to think. Brock Nelson, October 15th, 1991, and he's considered old. Yeah, I mean, he looks like an older guy, too, to me. He looks older than he is. Very Iron Man-like, knock on wood. Lots of 82-game, 81-game seasons in his career. He's fantastic in the face-off. Again, from War Road. Again, we all know that school. They're in the state tournament quite a bit. Just like Edina. Sorry. But, yes, I like Edina. I don't know why. I just do. I do. Brock Nelson's kind of a 50 to 60 point type of guy pretty much throughout his career. Again, a career high in 22-23 at a more of a ripe age, 75 points. Kind of like the Goose here, Gustav Nyquist, 69 last year. Career high and then second career high. So he's kind of getting better with age. He's like wine, I guess. Getting better with age, as they say. Late first round pick for the Islanders. And he's been there forever. So good for Brock Nelson. That was back in 2010. 2010. Even 2010. Yeah, Brave the Wild was already around back then. Which tells you how old this show is. Yeah, I don't know. I'm getting crazy here. Sorry. I'm looking at something and I'm getting... My head is like spinning here. But yeah, Nelson. We'd like to... Well, we have Brock Nelson. We shall see how that all turns out. And did I say Nelson? No, it's a guy named Brock. Brock Faber, or no, Brock, yeah, there's Brock Faber too. Brock Nelson or Brock Besser. You're welcome. Yeah, you're welcome for the stupidity. I don't know. I'm just, my head's spinning a little bit, and I apologize. Brock Nelson, Brock Besser, Brock Faber, and Brock the Rock, and I don't know. There's a lot of Brocks. Good for them. Brock Besser is a -20 for the Vancouver Schmucks, who are about to play second leading scorer behind the superstar defenseman Quinn Hughes, 60 points on the season. 60 bleeping points in only 50 games. Brock Besser in 54 games, 37 points. Besser is significantly younger, so people like that more. Yeah, so we'll get back to him in a little bit. But yeah, that's a possibility. There might be a Brock coming to town one way or another, maybe even via free agency as well. We've heard about Brock Besser about 50 times with the Wild in the past, but we'll see. So far, it has not happened over the years, of course, if you didn't notice. A Utah game on the 27th of February, 6-1. Do I have a whole lot to say here? Not really. Just awful game. Awful. And we just can't beat these guys. 16 shots on net. The Wild looked like a team that was, I don't know, looked like a team that had just played a game, basically, like, right before this one. They're just flat as hell. Nick Schmaltz with 3 points, 1 goal, 2 assists. Clayton Keller, holy crap. Yeah, 5 points, 1 goal, 4 assists. Clayton Keller absolutely whooped our butts, basically. Logan Cooley, the former Gopher, 1 goal, 1 assist. Good for him. Jack McBain, the jackass, with nothing. And he also had a fight in the game. So there you go. Ian Cole, the former Wild defenseman. So there's that. But yeah, no points for him, by the way. But Schmaltz's ult, as I like to call him, with Chicago and other teams. I guess Arizona. This is still the Arizona team that's now moved. But there's that. The other frustrations, of course, with now we're going to backtrack to the Gustav Nyquist trade, is that not Jacob Lauko, but Liam Ogren and Huznadinov sent down to Iowa because of the whole cap situation. So, and I don't know, I guess maybe it's better that they go and get their batting average higher, if you know what I mean. Like sending a player down to get their confidence up a little bit. There's that. Of course, Marcus Johansson's got to remain in the top 6 until hell freezes over. It's wonderful. Vinny Hinostroza has been in the top 6, and then on the third line as well, but he's been effective for the most part. No points in this one, though, for Vinny, because hardly anybody did anything. Just Freddie Gaudreau, assisted by Matt Boldy, and that's about it. The Wild were stomped into the ground by the Utah Hockey Club. Colorado Avalanche, back-to-back. Of course, Fleury, faced a flurry of goals. Pardon the lame thing there, but Mackenzie Blackwood only faced 20 shots. So the Minnesota Wild mustered 36 shots in 2 games versus the Lanch and the Utah Hockey Club. So Mountain Time Zone, not friendly to Minnesota. Gustafsson didn't have the best game of his life. I would say he faced 29 shots and gave up 4 goals, of course. All 4, yeah, they gave up 4 goals, and then, of course, there was an empty netter later. Faber with that assist. Congratulations there, moving into the milestone land. Rossi getting an assist, Zuccarello, and Hinostroza with a goal, again trying to stay in the National Hockey League. But another not-so-great performance by the Minnesota Wild. Not as bad as the Utah game, but certainly not much better. This was like, there were just some good moments, but generally speaking, a pretty meh game. Cale Makar, of course, surprisingly, getting an assist. What a shocker along the way, at least getting a point. Ross Colton, ever heard of that guy? Ross Colton, 2 goals and an assist for the Colorado Avalanche. Who's the first name you think of when you think of the Colorado Avalanche? Ross Colton? Jarek McKinnon? Jarek McKinnon or Nathan McKinnon? Nathan McKinnon. Jarek McKinnon. I am losing it, guys. Let's say Cale Makar, Nathan McKinnon, or Ross Colton. I think Ross Colton, yeah. I don't know. Casey Middlestat, decent in the face-off circle and helped the Lanch there, but did not register a point in this one. But the Lanch win 5-2. How exciting. But if you think that's exciting, are you ready for a 91 Twins versus Atlanta Braves Game 7-like performance? 1-0. Yeah, 1-0 on March the 2nd versus the Boston Bruins. It's exciting. Well, Freddie Gaudreau scored. Anything else? I don't know. We mustered 22 shots on goal and scored once. Did stop David Pastrnak, who had, a 17-game point streak. So that's pretty cool. Gustafsson would have a couple of great games here after being mediocre against Colorado. Not that bad, but just mediocre. Just not that great because the whole team was kind of meh in that one. The Goose obviously had his, this is a first game with Minnesota here coming to Boston with the Wild, met with them in Boston, and here we go, a 1-0 win for the Wild. Zuccarello, Johansson again, fun, with Freddie Gaudreau. Gustav Nyquist was definitely what am I saying? Philip Gustafsson was definitely the best player on the ice for the Minnesota Wild. Boldy had a couple of opportunities that didn't cash in. Unfortunately, Jeremy Swayman was pretty damn good in the game as well, but also the Boston defense was solid. But they couldn't muster a single point or single goal, so to speak, versus Philip Gustafsson, and the Wild would win 1-0. Exciting. It was a pretty boring game, but at least the Wild won a home game, so we'll take that in a heartbeat. Then we head to Climate Pledge Arena. Yeah. Anyhow, Seattle's 26-32-4 on the season. Definitely looking more and more like an expansion team after their second year when they were pretty strong. Is this already their fourth year in the league? Isn't that the darndest thing? Already 4 years. Wow. But, yeah, they had that nice run where they almost went to the West Finals. Almost. Until the Stars got past them in a 7-game series. 4-3 win for Minnesota after building a sizable lead. The Seattle Kraken would come at Mr. Gustafsson pretty hard in that third period. And Philip Gustafsson was phenomenal in the third period after the Kraken would make it would put it from 4-1 to 4-3 very late in the second period, thinking, oh boy, it's 4-3 now and we got a whole period to play and all the momentum's on Seattle's side. Neither team would score in the third period. Again, Gustafsson fantastic. Joey Decord only faced 20 shots, but the Wild made them count, including Vinny Hinostroza scoring again. They have 3 goals on the season now, and at least, they got 3 with Minnesota. Boldy and Zuccarello. Zuccarello would factor in a bit. Ryan Hartman came back in this one and would factor on Jared Spurgeon's 7th goal of the season, along with Declan Chisholm scoring there. Spurgeon would have a multi-point game. Gaudreau had a strong week, to say the least. He was one of the best players out there the whole week when we were struggling, the Wild, and Johansson was certainly registering points. Game in and game out pretty much for the most part. Not game in and game out, but solid. And Hinostroza has been a nice story since coming to Minnesota via the waiver wire. Boldy would get an assist. Gaudreau with a multi-point game. Zuccarello another solid night. Gustav Nyquist 1 shot on goal. I don't know. Second round pick. I mean, I'm telling you, it's expensive. Expensive shot on goal there, I think. I know it's not the only game he's going to play for us, but oh boy, I don't know. So far, it hasn't been too great. Capo Caco, the former New York Rangers number 2 overall pick, playing with Seattle, registering 2 points because he heard me probably say something not so praising last week when I was talking about the Seattle Kraken game coming up. So I'm sorry, Capo. I apologize. 2 assists against the Wild. He's doing all right, and good for Seattle if Capo Caco was able to find some of that magic that made him the number 2 overall pick. A lot of people saw him as a future star in this league, so who knows? Maybe someday he will be the best player for the Seattle Kraken, and they could use a little help. There's certainly familiar names there. Vince Dunn, Jordan Eberle, obviously the goaltender who's been a massive bust, Grubauer. Joey Decord's definitely been a revelation. Adam Larson, the former Edmonton Oiler. Brandon Montour, the former Florida Panther. So some nice names on Seattle, but they're not winning games. Brandon Tanev was extremely popular. Way too popular in some people's eyes. I suppose that Jared McCann's had some moments. Jaden Schwartz with the Stanley Cup champion St. Louis Blues, if I remember correctly. So, yeah, it was kind of a fun game. It was more entertaining than winning 1-0, even though we won. Yeah, 1-0. No, that was boring as hell. And the only guy who scored was Freddie Gaudreau. Boy, that just excites you. A 1-0 game with the only guy scoring in the entire game is Freddie Gaudreau. Yeah, good for Freddie though. Freddie. Yep. Ain't that a bitch? Okay, sorry, wrong Freddie. Sorry. But a 4-3 win, the Wild survive, and thank you to Mr. Philip Gustafsson. Oh, shoot, I didn't mean to do that. I'm sorry. The Mike Modano Award winner for this particular episode is going to go to Philip Gustafsson. Very strong versus Boston, getting its 4th shutout of the season, if you can believe it, 10th of his career. and a epic performance in that third period, facing that Seattle Furious rally, so to speak, as we like to call it in the hockey world. A very strong showing in the net. Great job by Philip Gustafsson getting the job done there. Really appreciate what he was able to accomplish in a big way. Ryan Hartman's back. We're happy for him. I'm not all that thrilled about it, to say the least. I mean, it's just, I don't know. I hope the Wild find a way to move on from him in the off season. It's nothing personal, Ryan. It's business. It's just, I don't know. I don't know. First of all, you like spots to open up for young players. I know the young players have to earn the damn spot as well. But when players are under contract and all that, and I don't know. It's like too bad, so sad. I mean, Marcus Johansson and all them, and I know that Guerin and all them seem to like Johansson more than the rest of us, and could drive everybody crazy. But that's how some general managers are. They have their certain guys, Happens in the workplace, too. The rest of us don't understand it, but it happens way too often. More often than you even want to admit, let me tell you. Well, Vinny, great week. Unfortunately, I was about to give it to him at one point, but then it's like, no, it's got to go to Phil Gustafsson. I was about to give him the Madonna. I was like, is he going to get it? Then it's like, no, I guess not. Faber, again, nice milestone, 70 points. 7th fastest player in Wild history. Do you realize that's pretty amazing? Because, it took Quavo way longer. Obviously, Jules Eriksson Ek way longer. Faber just, one of those special players. And he's a defenseman. So, fastest defenseman in Wild history to get to 70 points. So, that deserves a lot of recognition. I think that's amazing. So, the title of this episode is either going to be something, obviously you already see it when you're hearing me, but just kind of thinking on the fly here in segment number 1, either going to have to do with that Faber milestone or why can't we beat Utah? It's freaking stupid. We always get crushed by them. So I guess I'm just going to pick a loss every time the Wild play Utah until they end the losing with them, because it's too much. It's too much, damn it, and I'm sick of it. I'm sure you are too. With that, well, we're going to take us a quick break and then look at the previews and keep moving forward, looking at the prospects and all of that good stuff. Back here on Brave the Wild, segment number 2, as we've got 3 games to preview. Look at the prospects. We will look at the state high school tournament in segment 3. I was thinking about diving into it in segment 2 here, but then it's like when I saw the question from Derek in there, I wanted to make sure. Like I thought I saw something that's like, oh yeah, yep. So I'll save that for segment 3. That can make segment 3 a little more fun, obviously. So I appreciate Derek getting that going. You probably can guess I'm going for Class A2, but we'll have some fun with it, of course. But first of all, before we dive into the previews and such, we're going to hear from DraftKings now. It might not feel like it, especially after the snow here in the Twin Cities in our neck of the woods here, but probably in other areas, the snow was pretty wide. But spring is right around the corner, and yes, temperatures will come back up. That's the good news. They're coming up slowly. Know how you can tell? Golfers are hitting the links, and we have some tournaments to talk about. And if you want to do more than just talk, put your money where your mouth is. Get in on all the tee to green action with DraftKings Sportsbook. This upcoming weekend, we have the Arnold Palmer Invitational 2025, the legendary Arnie Palmer. So, well, the most likely guy to win this one, at least in the odds, on DraftKings, Scotty Scheffler, plus 330. Rory McIlroy, yep, we're getting the bigger names now, plus 650. Ludwig Aberg, just like Pontus Aberg for Minnesota a couple years ago, and yeah, plus 1,200. These are the winner odds. Colin Morikawa, plus 1,200. Xander Schauffele, plus 1,400. Hideki Matsuyama, sounds like a game designer for Konami or Nintendo. Okay, I know, I'm just playing around. I'm just going to annoy people. Tommy Fleetwood, Yeah, you could have fun with some of these. But yeah, obviously, golf. Obviously, it's very enjoyable, and it's a sign of spring. And of course, the Masters eventually coming up in April. I mean, April rocks. So there's absolutely that as we continue to move forward. From Thursday's opening round through the closing round Sunday, DraftKings Sportsbook has you covered with tournament props, live betting, odds boosts, and so much more. If you've never bet on golf before, it's easier than you think. Just pick something simple like a golfer to win the tournament and make your pick. It's just that easy. So, yep, like I mentioned just now, all the different possible odds coming up. Here's something special for our first timers. Again, that was the Arnie Palmer Invitational 2025. New DraftKings customers bet $5 and get $150 in bonus bets instantly. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code THPN. That's code THPN for new customers, THPN like the Hockey Podcast Network, for new customers to get $150 in bonus bets when you bet just $5. Only on DraftKings. The crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY, which is 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly on behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort in Kansas. 21 plus age and eligibility varies by jurisdiction. Void in Ontario. New customers only. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see dkng.com/audio.co/audio. So thank you so much, DraftKings, and really appreciate you in so many ways. So we're going to jump in and talk about the Vancouver Canucks. What do you think of that? Well, I don't know. What I like about the Vancouver Canucks is it's West Coast. I like West Coast games because I'm a second shift guy. West Coast games rock. Mountain time games are okay too. Injury report. Jonas Brodin. That's another one. Isn't that great? Did not play in Sunday's game against the Boston Bruins, and is considered week to week. Yep, here we go again. Yep, and I didn't even talk about that, so my apologies. Lemon and tomato juice. No, this is lime and tomato juice for Brave the Wild. A little sip of coffee here too. Gotta lighten the mood, right? That's because it's depressing. Well, you have to lighten the mood when you consider the players that are on the frickin' injury report. Let's see, Jonas Brodin, he's kind of important. No, he's really important. Let's see, Joel Eriksson, yeah, he's extremely important. Probably a broken bone in his foot week to week, but 6 to 8 weeks, according to Michael Russo a week ago. Kirill Kaprizov slated to come back in 2085. Maybe. I don't know. Long-term injured reserve and is slated to be out longer than originally expected, so on and so forth. That was back at the end of January. And, well, since loopholes exist with the rules with the cap and going into the postseason, do it. Now, obviously, Bill Guerin's not going to admit it, but do it. Do it, Bill. Do it. Let's see, if you want to. Yeah, make some kind of trade without giving up a ton of capital, hopefully. Some type of trade that can help this team without giving up too much capital. And then, oh, well, gosh darn, would you look at that? Kirill Kaprizov's out there playing against the Dallas Stars or whoever we're playing in the first round, just like Mark Stone and such. Would you look at that? I can't believe what I'm seeing. And with Tampa Bay, yeah, who's this guy? You know, this, I don't know, let's just keep moving. Quinn Hughes, yep, I talked about, Quinn Hughes will not be in the lineup tonight against the Ducks on Wednesday the 5th. That was yesterday, according to Jeff Patterson of CanucksArmy.com. Ooh, the Army. Noah Yulston had a successful lower body procedure February 28th, expected to miss approximately 12 weeks. So I'm sorry to hear that, Noah, but hopefully you're going to be on the recovery. Mr. Thatcher Demko on injured reserve since Feb the 8th, so it's been a minute there as well. Goals, Minnesota Wild are 20th, Vancouver's 27th, really. Goals against, Minnesota 11th, Vancouver 18th. Yeah. So Wild are better in a lot of things. Power play 21st, power play for Vancouver is 16th. Penalty kill, the Wild is just a wonderful 31st in the league. Terrific. Vancouver 6th. Slight difference there. Penalty minutes, Wild 13th, Vancouver 16th. Interesting. The Wild did win the season opener of this conference rival here, with the Vancouver Canucks no longer division, of course, many moons ago now. An overtime victory for Minnesota. So again, like I said, conference rival. So we're playing them 3 times: Friday, March the 7th, and Saturday, April the 12th. Again, don't think there'll be a whole lot of snow out there. And I can hear a lot of dripping right now, even though the temperature, I do believe, is still hovering below freezing. But the sun this time of year is getting a lot stronger. And the fact that the sun is out can hopefully clear things up here for a lot of us getting stuck in the parking lot in this apartment. Thank you, guys. Thank you for plowing. Not. Yeah. Anyhow, Vancouver's 2-3 in their last 5. They lost to Utah. Okay, they're struggling with them too. The Kings, they actually beat them. Anaheim, a 5-2 loss to the Ducks on the 27th. Interesting. 6-3 loss to Seattle. Those are all on the road, and then come home and beat the Ducks 3-2. Congratulations, Canucks beat the Ducks. Rolls right off your tongue. The Wild had a 3-game losing streak, are now on a 2-game winning streak. Can the Wild keep their winning streak going versus the 28, 22, and 11 Vancouver Canucks team? Interesting record. The Wild will win this game. The Wild will win this game. I love the Wild's road record. I think it's a nice matchup. Kevin Lankinen, interesting. 904 save percentage, 2.56 goals against average, though, with 4 shutouts. That's pretty good. But with players out for Vancouver, obviously, I think the Wild know what that feels like as well, just a little bit. Demko, he was kind of mediocre all year, 500 record. Artur Silvos has barely gotten in a couple games, 1 win, 6 losses. Yikes. But Kevin Lankin has been pretty respectable, 21-10, and like I said, the goals against average hovering at 2.5. That's pretty good. Patterson, I don't know why he's dropped off as much as he has. He was a phenom years ago when the Wild played against them in the series, and he was a young, up-and-coming phenom. Ever since then, I don't know, but Quinn Hughes remains in that category. Brock Besser, a -20 for some reason. You got Quinn Hughes as a +10. That's a pretty big discrepancy there. That's a 30-point difference, man. How does that even happen on the same team? Carson Soucy's a -13. He's got 10 points. Of course, the former large Wild defenseman. Took a few minutes to get to the NHL, but he's stuck around. He stuck around very nicely, coming from Minnesota Duluth. Unfortunately, was on the team that lost before they won a couple of national titles in a row. Man, did they go to they went to 2, did they go to 2 or 3? They went to 3 straight national championships, and I think they got knocked out in that. Was it the 4 or the 8, finally, when Massachusetts finally won it all? Was it, Massachusetts was the team that won it all, and Lindbergh held up the trophy when they got the shutout and won it all. So, yeah, former Wild prospect at the goalie position. But the Wild will beat the Vancouver Canucks. Final score of 4-2 with an empty netter. Most likely guy to score, and this one will be Brock Besser. No, Brock Besser. Brock Faber. I'm going crazy, guys. Please forgive me. I'm going nuts. Come on, Brock. Too many Brocks. Wild have a chance to get better here. The schedule's not too scary. I mean, these are mostly struggling teams. Okay. Yeah, the Wild have a chance to go 2-1. I don't like the third game. We do play the Rangers. I think that's a winnable game at home, but I guess you never know with that. Pittsburgh Penguins have a losing record. They're kind of like the Blackhawks, kind of, when they had Kane and Taves, but not quite as bad, I guess. But yeah, Pittsburgh has been kind of, they've been way past it for many years now. Pierre-Olivier Joseph on injured reserve as of March 3rd. Thanks for the information, I suppose. Pittsburgh is 15th in goals, 32nd in goals against. 32nd, 232 goals allowed. Minnesota beat Pittsburgh 5-3 way back on October 29th. The season wrap-up here, because it's an Eastern Conference club. Up and coming. Yeah. Let's look at those Penguins a little bit. Alex, that's a big name. Alex Nedeljkovic, I'm probably mispronouncing it. Kovic, 3.14 goals against average, save percentage just above 89, and 1 shutout on the season. Tristan Jarry has been, boy, every goal he's given up 3+. Tristan Jarry, 3.31 goals against average, save percentage of 88.4. Joel Blomqvist, that sounds like a good goalie, but he's only 4-9, 3.81 goals against average, 88.5 save percentage. Sid the veteran, Sid the very much veteran, not the kid, Crosby, 19 goals, 47 assists, 66 points in 62 games. Ricard Raquel has been a nice, he's been fantastic with Pittsburgh, but they're just not good. It's kind of a shame. I think weren't the Wild in like the running for him a long time ago or something? 29 goals to lead the way. 29. Wow. 24 assists, 53 points. Everybody's a minus this and a minus that. Even Crosby's a minus 25. Raquel, minus 23. Brian Rust, 47 points, minus 27. Erik Karlsson, 45 points. Sexy numbers, minus 23. Erik Karlsson puts up the numbers, but his defense is below average. Let's just put it there. Chris Letang, remember him? Minus 16, 24 points. All these names that won Stanley Cups years ago. Cody Glass, who's just not been a great first-round pick for the biggest Golden Knights, now playing with Pittsburgh. 51 games, 15 points. Nothing to get excited about at all. Yeah, it's been fun. Oh, there he is. Malkin, 41 points in 54 games, minus 23. It's kind of depressing, but it's just weird to see all these big names still there, and they're just bad. I don't know. Winnable game for Minnesota, 8th place in the Metropolitan Division is Pittsburgh. Don't lose this game. Talented players, but they give up like 19 goals a game. Okay, not quite that bad, but must feel like that, though, for a team that used to be, kind of a dynasty for a couple of years there. Like a mini dynasty. Anyway, the Blackhawks of the Eastern Conference is what we called them for a few minutes. It's kind of what they were. What's the final score going to be on this one? Let's say 5-3 again. Yeah, 5-3. It sounds about right. It's like perfect. Like they score, but they give up a lot. A lot. I like saying it like that. Most likely guy to score in this one is going to be Marco Rossi. Marco Rossi, Super Marco, is going to score again as he continues. Hopefully he's not going to become trade bait, as some people think he might be. I don't know I don't know if you really want to do that. I don't at all. But Marco Rossi will score against the Pittsburgh Penguins, and the Wild win this one 5-3. Next, not these guys again. You know how like you walk in the room and you see somebody you just, not them. God, no. Well, they have almost the same record as the Wild. 36, 24, and 2. So they have 2 full losses more, and the Wild have 2 full overtime losses more. Otherwise, we both have 36 wins. Interesting. Injury report on the Colorado side. Martin Nyquist dealing with nausea on Tuesday, March the 4th, versus the Penguins, probably because he looked at their record and their goals against average. So he was dealing with nausea, apparently. Josh Manson did not play against Pittsburgh. Thanks. Tucker Poolman, long-term injured reserve, didn't play in 23-24 due to migraines and won't be available this year either. Yikes. Sounds like Mr. What was his name with the Vikings? What was his name? Percy Harvin, yeah. Migraine. Oh, and he returns an 85-yard touchdown. And he's out with migraines the next week. And the next week, oh my God, great week. And he's out with migraines again. Or he played this week and he got 1 catch for 7 yards because, whatever. Oh my God, that was frustrating. Percy Harvin. Man, talk about a tease. Colorado frickin' Avalanche, 8th in goals, 17th in goals against, again because of the bad start, not because of the current goaltending situation. 14th on the power play, 14th on the penalty kill, 7th in penalty minutes, so on and so forth. Colorado Avalanche lead the season series 2-1. Can the Minnesota Wild make it even on Tuesday, March the 11th? We shall see. Colorado has won 3 in a row. Great. Beating New Jersey 5-1, Minnesota 5-2, and Pittsburgh 4-1. Huge shocker there that they beat the Pittsburgh Penguins. Though the goaltending again in Colorado has been way better than it was at the start of the year. They were kind of like the Pittsburgh Penguins. Now it's been great. Mackenzie Blackwood, 2.12 goals against average, save percentage of 92.1 with 2 shutouts. Scott Wedgwood, by the way, Mackenzie is 16-7 on the season with Colorado. Scott Wedgwood in 10 games, 6-4. Wow, goals against average of 2.23. Epic, 91.6 and a shutout. Talk about epic. Nathan McKinnon, 62 games, 70 assists, 23 points for 23 goals for 93 points. He's a plus 20. Cale Makar, man. Boy, would you like to have him on your team. Wouldn't you, though? 22 goals. This is a defenseman. 46 assists. Is that all? 68 points, and he's a plus 18. Man. 3 game-winning goals. Mikko Rantanen obviously is on the Carolina Hurricanes and not doing as well. He was doing great for Colorado, 49 games, 64 points at the time, but traded him away because of, I guess, cap issues and such. So that's how it goes. You know, you can't keep everybody. Just like can't keep Marco Rossi now. Oh boy, we gotta get rid of him. He's just too short too, dang it. Ross Colton, 3 points in his last game against Minnesota, 45 total games, 15 goals, 5 assists. He's one of those kind of guys who pops up here and there. Generally speaking, he's a -6 on the season, but interesting nonetheless. This Casey Middlestad guy who played for the Gophers for only 1 damn year, -12, 34 points, 11 goals, 23 assists for the Eden Prairie guy, as we could call him, 62 games for Eden Prairie's Casey Middlestad, who's about a half a point a game for the Lanch. Of course, played with Buffalo, as a lot of Minnesotans have. Minnesotans and Minnesota Wild players have been Buffalo related one way or another over the years. Thomas Vanek, you can go on all day. Jason Pominville, not from Minnesota, but played with the Wild. You get the idea. So I'm babbling a little bit there. The Minnesota Wild do not win this game. It's a home game, and it's Colorado. Wild do not win. 3-2 loss to the Colorado Avalanche. I'll say 4-2. Empty netter. Colorado wins the game. Cale Makar, probably with an empty netter, or McKinnon or whatever. McKinnon is like a multi-point game. What a shocker that would be. I'm looking at something, and there'll be a question, so I'll keep my mouth shut. It'll be part of the conversation in the fan interaction. It's a certain player on the Washington Capitals. You can guess who it is. What else am I saying? So now we're going to move on to the prospects right here and now. Liam Ogren, of course, down with Iowa. Doggone it, but that's how it goes. Back down to the Iowa Wild. Has not played a game yet. Had 23 points in 25 games for that team. In fact, I'm going to open things up with Iowa one way or another. Yep, Travis Boyd continues to lead the Iowa Wild in scoring. He's been having some great games. Hunter Haight has moved up to second as he's had some big ones as well. He ended up winning the Prospect of the Week on MNW Young Guns / MNW Prospects. Great guys there. Still, it's not showing Liam Ogren as a member of Iowa yet. So obviously a couple of games off. Ben Jones has been back down there. Graham Clark has had some moments. He's 4th in the team in scoring. Gaunt is up with the Wild. But Boyd is leading the club in scoring in 45 games, 38 points for the 30-year-old Hopkins, Minnesota native. Michael Milne, -16. Ouch. Great start to the season, but it's been awfully quiet. Spacek is also a -14, but 23 points as a defenseman. 4 of them are goals. Juracek had a couple of points recently. 6 assists now on the season. He's only a -2, so that's not too bad in 26 games for a team that hasn't won a whole lot of games. Mr. Wallstedt has definitely been better, but not spectacular, but certainly better. He's won a couple games in a row now. 9-11 is his record. Not an inside job in that case. 88 save percentage, still 88.4, 3.53 goals against average. For Jesper Wallstedt, hoping for the best there. Ryan O'Rourke is only a -6, so that's decent compared to what he had been, but again, struggling. Only 6 points for the Pickering, Ontario native, former second-round pick by Minnesota. Again, taken ahead of a guy by the name of Brock Faber. Ever heard of him? Yep, just a couple picks ahead. The Kings ended up taking Brock. The Wild took Ryan O'Rourke, a few picks ahead. I don't know what to tell you. But at least we got Brock Faber anyway later for Kevin Fiala. Plus 8 is Luke Toporowski to lead the club. Well, tied with a guy named Matthew Sopp, who's been with Iowa for only 21 games, whereas Toporowski's maintained his +8 in 36 games. I've obviously missed some time, unfortunately. That's a huge thing in Iowa as well. A lot of guys, been up and down with injuries, and of course players in and out with this or that. Sammy Walker's been traded away, of course. See how he's doing. I'm curious. Tucson Roadrunners, 10 points in 12 games. Ooh, good job, man. Yeah, he had only 11 points for Iowa earlier in the season in 30 games. He's already at 10 now in 12. So good to see that, Sammy. Hoping for the best for the former Gopher, Sammy Walker. Hoping for the best for him, really, though. It's one of those guys you want to root for. He really is. Jack Pert still only 2 assists, but he's only a -1, though, for the 21-year-old Grand Rapids, Minnesota native. Caden Bankier's a -16, tied with Michael Milne. Yep. 21 points in 50 games, but 10 goals. Okay, it's something. It's something, but not a whole lot of ground to stand on. Carson Lambos is up to 12 points in 50 games and only a -1. So, again, that's encouraging. Like, little stuff like that is encouraging. The minus, plus minus stuff. See, like certain people, like last year, wasn't Ryan O'Rourke in like the -28 or something like that? It was like psycho how bad it was. Like last year's Iowa's team was absolutely pathetic. This one is not good, basically. Just not good. Not pathetic, but not good. Still kind of a last place-ish type of a team. They're kind of like the Penguins. They're kind of like the whatever, Penguins minus superstars at the top. That's kind of what's going on with Iowa. They're kind of like the, I don't even know, Buffalo Sabres or something. That's basically what they are when it comes to the, AHLs. The AHL, that's what Iowa's relation is. Mentioned most of those familiar names already. Kyle Mostas. What's going on with him? Isn't he? He's been with the Hardliners. That's why. 5 goals, 7 assists, 12 points. So he's a notable there, and he's a +1 for the Iowa Hardliners in only 9 games for the Iowa Wild. 1 goal, 1 assist, and a -2. Ugh. But obviously he's that defenseman that popped up a couple of years ago in the juniors when it's like, oh, look at him. Him and Caden Bankier were surprises. A lot of people weren't thinking about them, and it's like, those two guys, huh? When the conversation in the offseason was like, those guys look really impressive. They've impressed me the most, whatever, that was the conversation. It's like, those guys? Okay, yeah, those guys. They did well. Speaking of those guys from college and all other places, Servac Petrovsky really quick, European there for the Czech league here. 44 points, 1 goal, 3 assists, and 4 points. Yeah, but I remember, wasn't he getting like hardly any minutes? It was like really bad, like 5 minutes a game or something, or less than that even. So Ryan Healy from Harvard, 11 points, halfway there to last year. So half the amount of points and the same amount of games as last year, 29 games. But a -5 versus a -26. So some positives, some negatives. Again, kind of like a lot of the Iowa players. And frustration is like no major step forward here for a lot of these dudes. And it's damn frustrating, man. Ryger Lawrence, again, huge step back. Half the point total as last year. Less games, too, though. Plus, still a +8, but it is Denver. Hello. They're like probably going to be ahead in a lot of games. Hunter Haight, again, doing pretty well for Iowa for the most part. What was his plus-minus again? -7. That's reasonable at 31 points. Yeah. That's not bad for a 20-year-old in the AHL. That's not bad. Not bad. Yurov, still waiting for that postseason over there. 46 games, 25 points for Metalurg, the defending champs there in the KHL, as we like to call it. Liam Ogren's down with Iowa. Jimmy Clark had a big game a couple weeks ago. 20 points now for the Gophers. Yeah, the future national champions, I hope. In 35 games, 5 goals, 15 assists. So way up in the assist total. The goals are the same, but he goes from a +5 to a +18. So pretty good step forward for Jimmy Clark, 7th round pick. 213 overall in 2023. From Edina, I believe. Is that what I had? Yep, he's from Edina. So go Edina. We'll talk about them in a little bit here. Kalen Parker, 23 points. Nice step forward for him, but again, it is juniors and he's actually played more games. That's partly what it was a different comparison there. What am I talking about? No, he's about on the same pace as last year, basically. But going from a -6 to a 40 during the course of the season, a +40 for the Calgary Hitmen. You ought to just give them the championship if they're that good. Jeez. +40? That's psycho for the Calgary Hitmen of the Western Hockey League. Good job, Kalen Parker. Aaron Pionk, we're going to... Nope, not that guy. Yes, 23 points for Minnesota Duluth, going from a -9 to a 0, or even, or whatever they call it, 20 assists. So, small step ahead when it comes to some things there, but Duluth also a little better team for the Hermantown native there. Riley Height, 77 points in 53 games, +15 versus a +34 last year. So, I don't know. Damn it. It's kind of annoying. Kumpalainen, at least at the pro level, 14 points on the season. Rasmus Kumpalainen, wouldn't mind looking at something as well. A fellow Finland player, Soyani as well. He's had more time in the under-20 league. SM Sarja, he's got 5 assists in 9 games versus just 1 goal for Liga, which is the pro level. So Yeah, only 18 games though. What the heck? So that's kind of disappointing, to say the least. Let's look at Rasmus Kumpalainen, because I do believe he has other statistics that don't show up in certain things here. Yep, the under 20. What am I looking at here? Is that real? No. It's not making any sense. I apologize. No, he's pretty much been on the pro level. That's what I guess so. Otherwise, it's been World Junior Classic stuff. So, yeah, he did have 3 points in the World Junior Classics. 3 points in 6 games, 2 goals and an assist, but at the pro level for Liga there, 14 points in 44 games for Kumpalainen. So, yeah. So Yanni was the one that was mostly playing in there. Basically, version of the AHL, you could call it. So, we will continue. Apologize. Charlie Samel, 25 points in 34 games versus 8 last year. Sick numbers in a good way. Well, sick for him anyway. Going from a -4 to +13. 34 points, 34 games, 25 points, pardon me. Obviously, it's not like he's dominating, but he looks like a nice player. Nice, like third line, future bottom 6, basically, at the NHL level, if he doesn't indeed get to the NHL level, and we're certainly hoping so. Leskovar now 3 assists in 27 games. Good for him. Big, strong defenseman there. Wutzki, who's had his ups and downs, definitely steps back from last year, not up, so that sucks, but also depends on the guys in front of you. When you are a goaltender, there in man, he's born in 2006, yeah, after Kirby Puckett passed away. Jeez. 3.35 goals against average, 17 and 23 for his record, and 89.6 save percentage, slightly lower than last year, and disappointing. Kivihara with 16 points in 49 games. He's mostly played for Liga as well, so he's been very strong. 49 games. Yeah, looks like a future pro, and obviously he is a pro for that Finland club. Born in Denmark, but he is Finnish. Aaron Kiviharu, Ryder Ritchie, who's won a couple of prospects of the week, having a solid year. 48 points, 48 games, 25 goals, 29 assists for 54 points. And again, going from a -1 last year to a 16 plus this year. So, solid step forward. Not spectacular, but solid. Bulliam again at the college level, going from +33 to +13. Again, it depends on the team and all that, I suppose. 11 less games than last year at this stage. 7 goals, 30 assists, 37 points. As their seasons are starting to wrap up here. It is March. So, NCAA tournaments around the corner here, along with, again, with their conference tournaments coming up. But obviously, nobody's doubting that Steve Williams is going to be an outstanding professional defenseman for the Minnesota Wild. So, looking forward to that in so many ways. Coming up possibly in April here for Denver. Hopefully, they don't win the national championship again. I think we're getting a little tired of that nonsense a little bit. So, with that, we're going to take a quick break, and let's jump into that fan interaction as soon as possible. And we are back here on Brave the Wild, segment number 3. Time to do some fan interaction. You guys get to carry me now, and I appreciate that. Instead of me going, I'm gonna all throughout the show. Real quick, I was posting, was it Carolina Hurricanes? Hashtag new profile pic with the whale, kind of like Super Mario Brothers 2, the whale shooting you up in the air. Yeah, the Whalers logo. And I said, yes! So got a couple of likes, appreciate that. But yes, go Hartford Whalers. We want the whale, Carolina Whalers could have worked. It's funny how teams, they change names sometimes, and then other times they don't. Isn't it annoying? Don't you wish the Dallas Stars weren't the Dallas Stars or the Dallas Wolves or Dallas whatever, the Dallas Huskies, the Dallas something other than Stars? Wouldn't that have been nice? But no, they can't do that. We're Carolina Hurricanes instead of the Whalers. Okay, I mean Hurricanes is a cool name. It's a cool logo. It's fine. I don't know. Isn't that frustrating? Doesn't that drive you nuts? Yep. So it's like, yeah, I mean, I don't get it. I don't know why they do that. Like the Colorado Rockies became the, New Jersey Devils. Kansas City Scouts became the Colorado Rockies. So teams kept moving and moving and moving. that team's moved a few times before they became the New Jersey Devils because it's named after the New Jersey Devil. Ooh. Michael Russo had tweeted out, and I shared it, saying Merit Huznadinov assigned to Iowa for the first time in his Wild career. This was on March the 1st. David Jiricek recalled with Bogosian. Brodin banged up. But then Jiricek was, scratched. So it's like, that's great. Bogosian and Brodin banged up. Yeah, and we didn't even play him. Isn't that exciting? It's awesome. Michael Russo, the Wild reacquire Gustav Nyquist, and 2026 second rounder to the Predators. 2026 second rounder, see? Yeah. Look, there was a comment. I apologize. The comment was from Derek saying, wow, hopefully he can benefit from more ice time and opportunity. That would be, Jiricek. Actually, I think Derek meant, Derek meant Huznadinov. Apologizes. But that was me screwing that up. Sorry. Hopefully he can indeed. A couple of responses here to the Russo, me saying really good player, but a second rounder. Wild, come on, why does that happen? Wild hockey fan for life says second rounder who may not ever make the NHL and a $750,000 for approved veteran player. That would be Nyquist, of course. Yeah, I mean, I get it to a point. I was saying, yep, I understand. Just read about the age and production this season, I suppose. Definitely do like the player. If he's anything like before, he'll be a great addition. So, yeah. I know a lot of people are thinking second rounders, you don't know in the NHL. It's kind of high, though. It's kind of high. Isn't that Brock Faber? Wasn't he a second round pick? But, I mean, I don't know. That's the thing, Jack McBain, yeah, I'm just kidding. Next, continuing, this is where I was like, I wasn't all too thrilled. Michael Russo says, looks like the Wild have reassigned Liam Ogren to fit Gustav Nyquist on the roster. We'll see if there's more juggling depending on the health of Jonas Brodin and Zach Bogosian. I was saying, Derek was saying, if this is what they do, it's a big mistake. It's not worth it. Yeah. Seems like too much, doesn't it? I was like, yeah, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense. Kind of jumped on a couple more. Tom Haynes says, why? Minnesota Wild could use a 36-year-old winger that has 21 points this season. Only thing missing is a 3-year extension with no move clause. Yeah, that's a little sarcasm there, but yeah, well, of course. Yep, that is pretty much what they've been doing. Derek says, no freaking clue. This smacks of an aloof owner expecting a move, no matter how foolish it may be. Tom, damn it, I opened up stuff here. Wild hockey fan replies again saying, foolish, $750,000 and a second rounder? How many second round picks make it to the NHL? I would say a lot, though. I would say a lot. He said, Wild hockey fan continues saying, I'd take known quantities all day long when struggling to stay in the playoff hunt. If we have no chance, I'd agree with doing nothing. But we're better than that sometimes. That's funny. Sometimes, yep. Derek says, in my opinion, this isn't our year. Second round picks make more difference than Nyquist. Well, yeah. I mean, like Nyquist, and it doesn't feel really like it's Nyquist here either, does it? It doesn't. Derek puts up the poll here, and I need to do this more often. I was good at it, and I was good at it for a while. Derek might tell you. I kind of semi gave him the idea a little bit about polls. Like, yeah, that's a good thing going there, and then. That's because I was doing it, and then I stopped doing it. And then Derek's like, I'm going to keep doing it. I didn't stop doing it by choice. I just forgot. I've just been kind of stupid. My apologies. Anyhow, Derek says, what do you think of the Minnesota Wild's trade of Gustav Nyquist? 3 choices. Good deal. We need help. Next choice, meh. Hope this isn't it. Third choice, waste of a second-round pick. And guess who's winning in a landslide? Waste of a second-round pick, 49.1. I tend to agree. I don't know. Nyquist hasn't been that good. The other two tied at 25.5. A good number of votes, too. It's not like it's 5 people voting. It's pretty good number. So, yeah, I mean, I agree with that. I think it's a waste of a second. Why is this resetting? Oh, you son of a biscuit. Okay, that's not too bad. It's still there. That was weird. I was saying, ready for the next Brave the Wild, so on and so forth. Yes, so, yep, when you do want to get, when we want to get on the show and keep everything organized, hashtag BTWMN. Just include that in your comment, and then everything stays in chronological order. So we don't have stuff going from 2021 or whatever. Morty, welcome back. He's leading off here in this section. He is Dan Gladden here looking to Dan Gladden either looking to get that double with a broken bat. to be the winning run in the 91 World Series here, to finally bust this shutout here by the Braves. Hashtag BDWMN. Has the Juracek trade been a disappointment so far? Do you think he will be a full-time next year, or he will be full-time next year? Sorry, I said that wrong. What prospects would you be willing to part with to get a top center if we could fit under the cap? Do the injuries to KK, Kuroko Breach, make you think he will or should take a reduced deal? I hope so. I'll start at the end there, and that's all I'm going to answer. No, I'm kidding. That would be so rude. Some people do that. That's mean. Some people do. I hope it's I hope we can bring him down at least $1 million a year. That'd be nice. So hard to say though. It really is. I think they have a pretty good idea where they're going, but obviously we're all in the dark here because that's just how it is. Unfortunately, we're not in the war rooms and such. But I wouldn't doubt that conversation is going to be part of the negotiation. It's going to have to be because, well, I mean, he can't stay healthy sometimes. I don't know. He hasn't been the king of Ironman. He hasn't been. It's not like he's injury prone super late, but I don't know. It does feel like it's lingering a bit, doesn't it? So the first one, Juracek trade disappointment so far. A little bit. It's early. I'll say it's early, but I would say a little bit because of he hasn't done hardly anything even in Iowa, which is kind of weird. And he's had significant NHL time in the past, so I don't know. I'd say a little bit considering what we gave up, but it's one of those give it time type of things. Like, put it this way, if Juracek is doing the same thing next year that he's doing this year, like 6 points in 20-some games, the first 20-some games with Iowa, I'm going to be kind of mad, actually. I'm going to be kind of mad. Like, what are we doing here? Like -6 or whatever. Not really showing a whole lot of much of anything. So I'm going to be a little bit mad if that's the case. I just hope it isn't another one of those, that we've been through here in Minnesota so many times. So, I mean, like, oh my God, we made this trade for this guy, and it's just not that good. For all we know, Columbus might have been going, for all we know. Do I think he'll be full-time next year? Very hard to say. Very hard to say. I'd like to say yes, but so far, not yet. Not yet. And that's frustrating to say that. I would love to say, yeah, absolutely. But I wouldn't doubt I think he opens the season with the Wild next year. But we'll see. He's got to produce. And hopefully it's just kind of some extra, I don't know, like okay, here you are. And then there's some extra, like, motivation to stick around. That type of thing. Obviously, a professional athlete should be motivated no matter what. But sometimes it's just, okay, we're giving you this opportunity, and that can kind of really help push things forward. Like, this is it, let's go, rather than just kind of screwing around in Iowa, because I don't doubt that's probably hurting his confidence a little bit. But even though it shouldn't, it shouldn't. He should be rocking and rolling down there rather than being, mediocre like the rest of the damn team. But anyhow, next, what prospects would you be willing to part with to get a top center if we could fit under the cap? Prospects I'd be willing to part with. The name Lambos just keeps coming up for me. I don't know how much of a value you're going to get for Lambos. That's the one thing. I mean, you just don't know. I mean, some people might even say like a Strumel. Some people might even say Liam Ogren. If it's a legitimate number one center, I might be willing to part with Liam Ogren if it's like something that works, like you're saying. The cap does go up, so that's exciting. People like Jug Zelgad locally do think Liam Ogren could potentially be gone. And that would kind of be a bummer. Not willing to part with Danilo Yurov at the moment, and definitely not Zeev Buium. I think those are the top two guys you got in the Les System. Maybe Ryder Ritchie, maybe. He can capitalize on his value because he's gotten better, possibly. Or even Riley Height. I'd rather not trade Liam Ogren, but if it's like something special possibly coming here, but not somebody who's 30-something. That's the one thing. If it's a number one center, but he's 30-something, I'm not willing to do that. So kind of put it that way. It has to be somebody younger, which translates to it's probably not going to happen. Yeah, and if you trade a Liam Ogren for somebody who's older, I'm going to be annoyed, really annoyed, actually, because I think you're being ignorant if you do that. Not you, Morty, but I mean like a Bill Guerin, if he does that. Veterans are nice to have, but I don't know. We have veterans already. We have a lot of veterans. And we have guys that are kind of like younger veterans, like Jules Eriksson Ek. Like, he's a veteran now, like, but a younger one. So look at it that way. We have veterans and experience on the team. So it's not like we're dying for help in the veteran department. Derek Felska, the lightning round has returned. And let's get going into that lightning round, if humanly possible. As I try not to cough here, doggone it. Anyhow, the Chicago Blackhawks managed to get a terrible contract and Seth Jones off the books in a trade. That's good. What Minnesota Wild contract, just one, would you like to see get off the books if they could somehow swing it? For me, it's definitely, well, I wouldn't even mind Spurgeon, but he's been valuable again. Like, Spurgeon's contract goes on forever. Otherwise, Foligno or Hartman are way at the top of the list. I mean, way, way at the top. Foligno or Hartman, I don't want them here, but I suppose Foligno brings some value, where Hartman I don't think brings any. I don't think Hartman brings any. I think it's much more of a minus. And it's not like I hate Ryan Hartman. I just don't think he's I don't think he's the answer. I don't think he's the answer for top six, middle six, bottom six. I don't think he's the answer. He can score sometimes. He can get some assists. He can rough things up. But then he does stupid bleep, and he's not that good. He'll go on like he'll go on streaks where just nothing's happening. And then you hear about he's nursing an injury. Well, then why is he playing? If he's not effective, why is he playing? So that kind of nonsense. So I'll say Ryan Hartman at the moment. Obviously, the Spurgeon contract is kind of frustrating. It seems like it's too much, obviously. And, you know, like when's the other shoe going to drop? Like, he's been wonderful, has Spurgeon, for the most part this year. For the most part. I'm loading up Puckpedia now just in case, just to kind of look at some other players here. Obviously not Boldy. Obviously not Jules Eriksson Ek. It's the best deal ever, comparatively. Foligno, it's like it's a whole year longer than Hartman. That's what pisses me off. I was so mad when I saw that. Goudreau goes on until 28, which is annoying, but it's only 2.1. And it's not like he's hurting us. Where sometimes Foligno hurts us, sometimes, which is really annoying. Yeah, I mean, it's Hartman right now. It's Hartman for sure. But strong second place, Foligno. Jared Spurgeon, I guess his contract, it ends in the summer of 27, so it's not that much longer. For some reason I thought it went on to like 29 or something stupid. So it's not that much longer. It's a little bit longer. Brodeen's is a pretty good deal at 6. He just can't bleep and stay healthy. Middleton, he's a good player. Good player. Goes on for a little while, but he's a good player. So Hartman wins in that department. Sorry. With Foligno standing, like breathing down his neck. Like they're right there, both of them. And if I could pick two, it's both of them. Next, here he is, Vinny Hinostroza. Has been a fairly effective, knock on wood, waiver wire pickup. With one more year left in his contract. Do you think he has a spot on the Wild? Well, if he goes up to Bill Guerin and says, there's two things that'll go on this paper. There's one of two things, your signature or your brains. Yeah, he'll be on the lineup next year if that happens. But no, I mean, he might, and knowing the Wild, he might. Vinny has been all right. He's been okay. He's definitely had NHL experience, and he's been wonderful for the Wild so far. But, yes, like you said, knock on wood about being a fairly effective waiver wire pickup. He does have 1 year left in his contract, yes. I hope I didn't close this. Yeah, I was just staring at it just now, kind of, because I remember hearing that a minute ago from, when I was reading through. Yeah, $775. Age 30. I mean, obviously he's a fourth line guy. I think he's more effective than like the Shores and Ben Jones is. So, yes. It wouldn't kill me. And of course, if you want to waive him at some point during the year, I don't think it's against the law. He's making under $1 million. So, and I don't think anybody else would be like, oh my God, that's too expensive. Oh my God. So, I'd say yes. I'd probably rather have him than the Brendan Gaunces, the Devin Shores, and the Ben Jones type guys. He's been better. So, yes. He gets the stamp of approval from Brave the Wild, Joey Awajan. Yes, for a fourth liner. And that's it, fourth line. But yeah, I'll say yes. Here it is. Who do you think will win it all in the Class A and Class AA in the Boys State Hockey Tournament? Well, thankfully I did pull it up. Matamida is already out. They got shut out by St. Cloud Cathedral, Orono, 8-2 over Northfield. Northfield was the number 3 and Orono was a 6. So Orono will be playing St. Cloud Cathedral. That's the Final Four already, if we can believe it. And the championship game is, wow, coming right up here. That would be Saturday, right? So this is Friday into Saturday for the championship. This is single A, of course. These are not huge name schools. Why can't I scroll? Oh, come on. That's ridiculous. This can't be real, can it? Can we hit the minus? There we go. That was easy. Laverne, number 8, getting beat by Hibbing. Final score 7 to Zilchi Dilchi. What the heck? So Hibbing Chisholm, VCHA, Chisholm, VCA. East Grand Forks beat Northern Lakes Lightning. Unfortunately, that sounds like a cool name, man. But they got beat by a 500 East Grand Forks team. So nice story for East Grand Forks. They're going against Hibbing in the Final Four, so to speak, semifinals. For single A, I have to go with St. Cloud Cathedral. They look like the strongest team remaining. They look like they're obviously Orono kicked some butt against Northfield, but for St. Cloud to shut out Matamidi, I believe they won it all recently, didn't they? And they didn't have a winning record this year, but didn't they win just recently? The whole enchilada. So St. Cloud Cathedral will win the single A. Third place game is undecided at the moment, and the consolation has got all the other teams that have been knocked out. So double A, if I can load this up. Yep, sir. Where's Edina? They're number 5? I thought they were number 1 in their section. Edina, I'm just playing, sorry. Yep, and these games have not been played yet. This will be today, Andover versus Stillwater area. Stillwater area. What a name for a school. The Stillwater area. But they're number 2. They're way up there, 22-6. Shakopee versus St. Thomas. St. Thomas. Lakeville South. I forget which Lakeville that Neil went to, though. Neil Nate Dog Thiesing was, God rest his soul, from Lakeville. And Moorhead is, one of the great hockey mavens for college hockey, of course. And Edina versus Rogers. And Rogers is actually favored in that one slightly, even though, just with their seeding. I think Edina at least gets past Rogers, I believe. They are Edina, and I'm probably... I can see them winning it all again because they show up every year. They'll have to get past Moorhead to get to the final, so that's going to be tough, real tough. Moorhead is 25-2-1. Moorhead will beat Lakeville. Edina will beat Rogers, so there's your Final Four for that side. Other side, Andover, Stillwater. Stillwater wins that one. And St. Thomas. Yeah, I'm kind of going to the higher seeds in these. No real upsets in these, except maybe... Now, obviously, if Edina beats Moorhead, they win it all. Not obviously, but I think they do. I think if they can get past Moorhead, they're the champions. And I actually think the winner of that game wins the championship. So I'll go with Moorhead, I guess. I think Moorhead is going to win it. They're like the team of destiny this year in Double A. So good for Moorhead. There'll be Moorhead versus St. Thomas. Moorhead versus St. Thomas in the championship, or Edina versus St. Thomas. But Moorhead or Edina wins, so I'm going to pick Moorhead. I want Edina to win because I like Edina, but I think Moorhead is probably the team of destiny this year. So Moorhead in Double A, and in Single A, I picked St. Cloud Cathedral, right? So, yeah, that's going to be your story going forward. And I'll probably be completely wrong. It'll probably be like East Grand Forks versus Orono. And, yeah, well, I don't even know who I picked there. Yeah, it's going to be St. Cloud versus Hibbing, but St. Cloud winning. Even though Hibbing could arguably be their favorite, but I'm picking St. Cloud to win the whole enchilada at the end of the day for Single A, excuse me. Yep, I like looking at these tournaments, and I can't wait for the college one. Thank you for that question. That was good. Really good. Really good. So I want to pick Edina, but not this time, I guess. Can't pick them every year. Derek's second last one here. Derek's last one and the second last one here. Will Alexander Ovechkin break the NHL scoring record from Gretzky when the Capitals face the Minnesota Wild on March 27th, or will he have reached that mark by the time we face them? Wouldn't surprise me if that happened, but how far is he away? Anyway, I'm guessing he's probably going to get it first. That's my guess. It's crazy that there's some people out there that believe that Ovechkin is Ovechkin's better than Gretzky. They're crazy. Goals is one thing. See, Gretzky stopped scoring goals late in his career. His last few years, he only had like 15 goals, 9 goals, stuff like that. And but he'd have like a bajillion assists throughout his career. He does have 885 apparently, 9 behind Gretzky. He's 9 behind? He's that far behind? Because I haven't been keeping up so great. So I will say no. I'm going to say no. I don't think he's going to score 9 goals between now and then. No. So I'll say no, and I don't think he will get the record versus us. But I suppose anything's possible. It is, the 27th, right? So I got a feeling I don't know. I don't think he's going to get it before that, no. I don't think he'll get it before, and I don't think he will score it against us. I don't think so. So I think it'll be after that game. That'll be my guess. Looks like there's a response mixed in there. Emin Johan, I hope he will, as I'll be in attendance. Ooh, okay. Well, that would be exciting, I suppose. And again, yep, he's a great goal scorer. He deserves tons of credit. Obviously staying healthy enough to get there is a huge thing, Mario Lemieux, because I know Lemieux could have possibly had way higher numbers than he had, as great as Mario Lemieux was. Doggone it. I loved Mario Lemieux. But it is ironic how Gretzky is the all-time leading goal scorer when, again, the last several years of his career, he stopped scoring goals for the most part. He wasn't a great goal scorer anymore. Obviously, earlier in his career, yeah, he was doing everything. Gretzky was the greatest of all time, and he absolutely is, just like Michael is for basketball. Yeah, like Gretzky, it's not like he completely stopped. I mean, yeah, his last year with the Rangers, there 9 goals, 23 goals the year before, 25 the year before. Looks like, yeah, the mix of, 96 he had 23. And then before that, it was higher numbers, like 40-ish still. 40 goals is pretty epic. But like 92 with Edmonton, that's insane. Back in 82, and they didn't even win the cup even. 212 points, 250. It's funny, the years that Gretzky actually had his 2 highest scoring seasons of his career in terms of overall points, they didn't win the cup. 86, that was Montreal. 82, that's pretty obvious who won that year. That'd be the New York Islanders, of course, because early first 4 years of the 80s, that's the Islanders. Whereas the Oilers mixed a 2-2 type of deal. 84, 85, and of course 87, 88, and then things got weird, unfortunately, and he went to the Kings after that. I just don't understand. They did get one more without him though, which is incredibly impressive. Mr. Mark Messier and co. got one more in 1990, which is again very impressive, and then Messier added a 6th championship with the New York Rangers. Interesting, to say the least. But, obviously it's been an epic career for Alex Ovechkin, so I do respect everything he's done. I'm just saying, it's funny how Gretzky kind of, he got older, he didn't score that much later in his career, but he still wound up with tons and tons of assists, even in his later stages of his career, but he was pushing 40, so very impressive, to say the least. So, final question, playing the Greg Gagne role again instead of Dan Gladden. That would be Jay Bushy here. Greg Gagne, obviously great shortstop, fast, just like Gladden and all them. But yeah, that's where the sometimes the ninth hitter's like the second leadoff hitter, as a lot of baseball coaches and managers will tell you. Jay Bushy, how do you feel about the goaltending lately? Been up and down, hopefully better down the stretch. Well, generally speaking, Philip Gustafsson this year has been pretty good. Has he been spectacular? No, he'll have some doozies in a bad way, but then he'll come back and have a very strong performance. I'm generally satisfied. I'm not dancing on the roof about it, but I would say it's been a huge improvement off of last season. Gustafsson's overall numbers are, with the 4 shutouts, that's exciting. 2.62, save percentage of 91.4. It's good. And Fleury's solid, 2.76, 90.4. It's good. 5 total shutouts. They both have a winning record. So I'll just generally say, yes, I feel good. I'm not, again, I don't feel like we're this spectacular goaltending tandem. But lately, yeah, it's been frustrating. Fleury got, flurried by the Utah Hockey Club because we just refused to beat them. And then Colorado's Colorado. It's, Colorado's Colorado with a rat in or not. So with the Rat King, I guess they could call him, right? Yep. Hopefully better down the stretch. That's what I'm hoping for. Yes, because if the Wild are going to win a playoff series, it's got to be Gustafsson playing, at the top of his game like he did generally versus Seattle, shutting down that run. Seattle could have beaten the Wild, and of course, shutting down Boston as well as he did, again, stopping Pasternak's 17-game point streak, which is pretty impressive, generally speaking. That's a long time. So that's a month of hockey right there, plus. So very impressive. Gustafsson, yeah, definitely. I'm generally happy, generally, with that said. So, again, shout-outs to MNW Young Guns / MNW Prospects. Pavel Bennett, Justin Baca, you guys are awesome, amazing, great guys, and great keeping up with the Minnesota Wild prospects the way you do, and looking for that next hero to help this Wild get to the Cup someday, hopefully. So, again, jumping also Minnesota Wild Global, Scott Cavendish, Kathy Main, Chad Wolski, Michael Fick, David Abraham, Dave and Chance Kostick. Yep, obviously an amazing page, great people there, and great hockey conversation. Patrick Turner, also great page there, Minnesota Wild Nation as well. So big shout-outs there for all of you guys, and thank you so much. Shout-out to Seth Tobal, does a great job, obviously, with Minnesota Wild, Locked On Minnesota Wild, pardon me. Seth Tobal, yep, does a good job. Obviously was fighting the bug like I was for a bit there. Poor guy. So, yeah, it's kind of like everybody got something, it seemed like. So, anybody pointing fingers saying, you got me sick, shut the hell up. I remember there was people like that at work. Shut the hell up, man. You know, some people are weird. It's like, no, I wasn't even close to you, so whatever. But anyhow, no, I'm not staying home for 2 weeks. It doesn't work that way. I'm sorry. You got to go back to work. You can't just stay home for 2 weeks. It's not going to happen. What was the other thing? Yeah, just want to thank all of you so much for listening. It means a lot. Obviously, if you could put a 5-star rating on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, it really would help the show. It's gotten lonely and stupid for a while now, and I don't know why. Seems like a lot of my shows just kind of, like, people listen. The listeners are there, but the ratings aren't. They just aren't happening. I don't know why. It's weird. It's as if, like, there's some kind of weird block or something. So, need some help with those algorithms. Help me out, guys and gals. Would really appreciate it. So, God bless all of you, and hopefully the Wild can at least have a 2-in-1 week coming up.